Because it's, you know, it's the other side. It's the other side of the moon gate, Nico, and the grass is always greener on the other side, right? Okay, so what we have, here's what we have. We have an art list. This is a draft of an art list. This is a draft of a list of art that they thought they needed for the Lost Vale. They needed male Z, female Z, General Zealands. So this is the general characters that they were going to put out who are not named. They're not named. You know, they have those characters that are just called peasant. Sponjo Regents. Did it say that? Sponjo Regents. Oh yeah, I'll explain that. I'll explain that. So the General Zealands, Ezrakal. Oh, Ezrakal. What do thou think Ezrakal is? Everybody, give me thy predictions about what Ezrakal is. We've got Lord British. We've got Lord British, male Z, female, male Zealand, female Zealand, and bag of holding, interesting. New buildings, city, huts. So I think we can just repurpose Ultima 7 stuff for this, city and huts. New architecture, we can just use like monitor architecture or something like that. Plant, new goods, shade. I don't know what shade is. What the hell is shade? Or plant. What is plant? Art list? Mountains? This is somebody hand... I like this hand-drawn thing. Game / etc. for Lisa and Michael. Lost Vale. Water zombie. Make some usables. Make some usables. Flasher. Look at this. They were going to create something. Look at this. I like that they were going to create something original. And then they decided, no, we're just going to do harpies. No, we're just going to do harpies. Harpies actually do make sense, though. There's a reason why a shade NPC. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, yeah, that actually does make sense, Nicker. There is a reason. So there are not harpies in Pagan, but they were going to be in the Lost Vale because there's a whole mountain sequence where you got to climb up this place called the Cliffs of Insanity. You got to climb up this place called the Cliffs of Insanity, and there were going to be harpies on the Cliffs of Insanity, like calling out to you and trying to kill you and trying to knock you off the cliff. Fire. What does that say? Turtles. Fire turtles? The Cliffs of Insanity! That's right, Nicker. What the hell does that say? Turtles? Trudels? What the hell is a... Fire Trudels! I don't know what that is. Flesh-eating ghouls. Hey, Moody Mystery! 3 streams! Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming back. Fire Toodles. Toodles fire. Toodles fire. Bye-bye fire. Toodles. Chests. Map. And then Sponge or Regents. Okay, so Sponge or Regents. Oh, work up from a nap. Excellent. Dost thou feel rested? Hope thy nap was restful. We are looking at Lost Vale design documents. I like Crudels. Yeah, me too. Hail, Thanators. The Sponjo Regents. Okay, this is code. This is code. What this is actually a ring of... You were supposed to get a ring of Regents that would make it so you no longer need regs to cast spells in Pagan. It was going to completely... Basically, it was going to completely remove the need for Regents once you've done the Lost Vale. It was going to be one of the rewards in the Lost Vale that you would get... a magic item that you would wear, a ring of regs, and then you would never need regs for spells again. So, yeah. But they just, for some reason they just called it a sponge. I don't know why they decided to code in the documents they call it a sponge. I don't know why. I'm gonna close that. Let's see. So we have the art list 2.5. Ooh, the art list 2.5 updated. Lord British. Ezrakal. So Ezreal is one of the most important NPCs in the Lost Vale. Taken from Mithrin, Mesh, and Skeleton. Oh, so Ezreal was just going to be based on Mithrin. So once we create Mithrin, we can just do a palette swap of. We can just edit Mithrin into Ezreal. That's good to know. Okay, so let's make some notes. Art notes. We'll call this art notes. Lord British, yeah, that's gonna make sense in a moment. That's gonna make sense. Gonna make sense, Cutter.
Fucking low.
Okay. So, thou ran into my rival. Was he plotting against me? Did he reveal any secret plans, perhaps? Because if he did, I'd like to hear them so I can get in there and I can foil his plans. Nico, Lord British is gonna make sense. Trust me, Lord British is gonna make sense. It's gonna make sense. It's gonna make sense. So, Ezreal, base it on the model for Mithrin. Or, in reverse, we could do Ezreal first. Here. Zealands, man, single mesh, multiple maps to individualize them, type and amount of clothing. Woman, single mesh, so these are like generic NPCs. Here's the thing. Hagen did this thing because they didn't really have time to give all the characters dialogue because so much time was cut. They really needed like another year of development time. So they just did this thing where they just sprinkled these generic NPCs. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. No, we ain't gonna do that. We're not gonna do that anymore. Instead, what we're gonna do is anywhere where there would be a generic NPC, we're gonna make it a normal ass NPC. We're gonna give it a name. We're gonna give it dialogue. It's gonna be pictures of you. You all are going to be. We're just gonna have NPCs. They're not all gonna be important NPCs, but they're gonna be characters with dialogue. Child. Man, woman, child. Yeah. Zealand God 1. Oh, Zealand God 1. Speaking. Zealand God 2, Zealand God 3. From Ancient Ones, Mesh or Skeleton. NPCs. Misk. So, Zealand gods to be based on Ancient One art. Zealand, I wrote. Dicko. We know somebody's nickname is Dicko. He infiltrated my Discord and posted some bitch and artwork he made, so maybe the plans are hidden some. Oh, Thanatos, maybe there's. Yeah, maybe he's doing that. That might be what he's doing. He's spreading code. He's spreading evil plans. By the way, I don't follow thee. And now I do. Now I do. Okay, so terrain pieces. Cloud World. Ooh, Cloud World. You know what? I had some videos. Before we do this, let's do a little, I got a short little video. I have not watched this one, so hopefully this is a good overview.
If you've ever found yourself in a small cave on the plateau in Pagan, you may have come across a massive locked door. Unfortunately, you never found the key. And no one else has either. And there's a reason for that. Through this door is going to be the expansion pack for Ultima 8, called the Lost Vale. Sadly, it never saw the light of day due to poor sales of the game. It was September of 1994 when EA decided to pull the plug on the Lost Vale. The worst part was the expansion pack was complete and ready for release. In the end, all we got was the box cover art and some screenshots.
Yeah.
So, what was the Lost Vale going to be all about? Now, in the expansion, the Avatar was going to travel to a land called the Lost Vale, where the three gods of emotion have been imprisoned. It would have been up to the Avatar to find a way to release them. Now, in 2007, more details came to light about the backstory of the Lost Vale. As the story goes, a group of people had been cut off from the mainland of Pagan and were in isolation for many years. During that time, two boys died in a tragedy, and it caused a rift in the people of the Vale, with each side blaming each other for the deaths of the boys. It was going to be up to the Avatar to travel to a cloud city to free the gods, and therefore they could heal the rift between the people. Now, when the Avatar got to the city, it was abandoned.
We're going to look at this all in detail
to monsters, therefore the adventure in the expansion pack. Now, fun little fact, there was going to be a new spell that shrunk the Avatar to a very small size, called the Tiny Tar spell.
Yeah.
At one point, you were going to use this spell to get through a crack in the wall to enter an ancient temple. You know, it truly is sad that we never got to experience this expansion, but it looked like it would have been great fun. Listen, if you want to read up more about the Lost Vale, there's a link in the description below.
Okay, so we have, what we also have is, so I've got the box art here. This is the demo, apparently. Is this real, though? They did a bit... we're going to talk about... We've got the actual Lost Vale design documents, Crayon, so we're going to talk about that in a moment. Is this real? Is this really a demo? No, it's not. Okay, that's just a... Here's the box art. This actually gives me clues, though. For things that I need to make. So this is what I'm interested in. So two of the gods are female. Two of the Zealand gods need female models. One is male. Okay. So we've got the other side of the box art here. Know a bit about the story of the... Oh, tell us about that, Cran. Yeah, so... Oh, here we go. Acquire the Bag of Regions. I thought it was a ring. A never-ending source of supplies for spell casting. Accumulate extraordinary strength and abilities, becoming a truly formidable champion. New monsters. It says unique to the secret land. It was only two. It was ghouls and harpies. Ring of Regents with Serpent Isle, yeah. Narrate chat voices for 5 minutes? We can certainly do that. Let me get a countdown. Why did I bring up the hip-hop timer? Oh well, whatever. No, we don't need a 5. We don't need the... I'm not rapping. Here we go. Okay. So anyway, let's go back to the design documents. Look at this. So we need cloud terrain. We need collapsing terrain. White and gold. Red stone architecture and turn it white and gold. So architecture. Cloud stuff is the red stone, but white and gold. Cloud-like ground. Holes in ground? Holes in some cloud? Okay. Avatar dying in cloud terrain. Now we're gonna have like a unique animation for that. Everything about the Lost Vale is considered truly lost. What remains of code was some snippets that Sherry Graineray had at home since she'd taken a disc home with her to work on while she was pregnant. The finished product is still... Here's the thing, I feel that there's... I feel that there's heaps of people that probably haven't been contacted, you know? I feel like there's quite a few people that worked on Pagan in some capacity. I'm not convinced that we have everything that's out there. I feel that there's probably pagan stuff that is out there. Yeah. Lost Vale, of course, albeit as much like Tony Zurevec told me that was a tiny project, and he told me a lot of it wasn't like so many of the origin documents. Yeah, but people took stuff for him. You know, I was talking to Don DeRuin, who was one of the he was the playtest lead, and he told me that he had a huge archive of documents about Pagan. He had builds of Pagan. He had pre-release builds of the game. He actually had pre-release builds of the game. He had documents, but then he moved house 2 years ago, and he threw it all out because he didn't know anybody that wanted it. He didn't know anybody that wanted it. And here's the thing, he was one of the playtesters. I don't think anybody had ever thought to ask him before. Nobody ever thought to ask him. Being one of the playtesters, nobody ever bothered to ask the playtesters. So I feel if we reach out to anybody out there that was involved in the project, we might find something. We might not find Lost Vale builds, but I feel that there's pagan stuff that we don't know about. Yeah, you know what some of these people though, Crayon, like, some of these people, like, they're not necessarily in contact with fans. They're not necessarily the kind of people that are even doing that type of activity on the internet, you know? Some of them are, but some of them aren't. And some of them are people like Tony Zurevec, the lead programmer on Pagan. I think he told me he has stuff. I think he has stuff. He doesn't know what's there though. It might not necessarily be pagan stuff, but he definitely has origin stuff. He just hasn't had a chance to... Oh, the music is loud. Let me turn it down. Tony Zurevec has stuff. He just hasn't had time to look into it though. I think he's gonna when he gets a chance. He just hasn't had time though. So I'm hoping that he has stuff from like Serpent Dial or something, but you know. Is that volume better now, Thanatos? Anyway, items. Shades. Oh, so the shades are ghosts. They are ghosts. Neko, they were right. Shades. 2 ghosts. Like in Skara Bray. Pillar of... It's interesting they're items, though. They're items? 2D? So they might not actually be characters. Pillars of fire, earth, water, and air. Talisman of fire. Yeah, so I think you were going to need to use all 4 of your Here's the thing, I think you were going to need to use all of your magic on the... So the concept was there were 4 pillars and you were going to have to do a spell on each one of them from each school of magic. They couldn't do water because they removed Tempestry. Tempestry was supposed to be a big part of the game. They removed it because they didn't have enough time to put the city in where you were going to travel to learn Tempestry magic. So they've crossed it out. But the talisman remains. Magic Frisbee. So there was a shield. There was a shield that had to be restored. A ceremonial Zealand ancient ceremonial artifact. And they called it they just codenamed it the Magic Frisbee. Oh, I forgot to do the voices. Okay, I'm gonna start the timer again. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Thanatos. I forgot to do the voices. I'm gonna start the timer again. The timer starts now. How dare? Cran says, a while back, might be that 2007 date mentioned in the video, a Lost Vale box showed up on eBay. It was sold for a pretty penny, but some interested parties saved the photos. Its legitimacy was called into question, but they were able to verify that the UPC code on the box was an internal origin code that was slated for the product. If it were fake, how could they have known that? Yes, that is exactly my voice. Bottomless bag. I guess this is a bag that lets you ignore weight. Sure is, Cran. Test tree / plant fruit / fruit. What the hell is... Oh, this must be a puzzle. There's a tree. Oh, I think in the story there's some fruit you've got to eat or something like that. Tree that's... needed for a puzzle. Flash quest. Damn puzzle. Falling debris, pillar receptacle, still. Anyway, we're looking at the art now. Okay, we're done with that. What else we got? We have... Oh, we got an email. This is more updated artwork. Brian Martin at Origin. 2. Andrew Morris, Sherry Grainer, Lisa Smith, Michael Priest. Vale art needs as I see him. As I see him. I love it. I'll need for y'all to fill in a description of each character and a list of each separate activity and animation needed for each character. Also, any more stuff that I didn't get on this list needs to be added now. Thanks. Turned out to have been samples from a printing company that were tossed. Origin had contracted them but never went through with the full... Oh, I remember hearing about that box, Cran. However, Dominus has teased me that it might be 1 or even 2 full boxes with disc and documentation. Yeah. So the reason I've been emailing all these developers is to help Dominus. That's the reason I started emailing Tony Zurovec. That's why I was talking to Don DeRuin. Oh yeah, sorry. It turned out to have been samples. Let me give you, I gotta go back another minute, so I'm gonna give you the minute. I'm gonna give you the, sorry, I got the streamer brain. It turned out to have been samples from a printing company, so they did the... Okay. Dominus has teased me that there might be 1 or even 2 full boxes with discs and documentation. He's been cagey about it, understandably. He's been waiting for the right time to show everyone. Yeah, I think I remember hearing something about that. We don't know what's on the boxes, on the discs, I'm not sure. I can't remember. Voice Dr. Yaz? Oh, nice. Lol, all good. Yeah, Cran, so some of these people like Mark Vitek that thou helped me with, that's what this project is for, because I'm trying to help him. I'm helping him with the source code archival project. Character meshes. So I like this. Mithrin. Steal him whole from Ultima 8. Ezreal. So this is pretty much the same. Amora. Wrong names, but yes, 3 Zealand gods are needed. Amora, Odian, and Apathos. So this is the 3 gods. Amora, Odian, and Apathos, yeah. Amora, I think, is the god of love. Apathos is the god of apathy, and Odian is the god of hate. So they had a god of love, hate, and apathy. Oh, wow. Flossy, what do they connect to? Test stump. Damn puzzle. All the Gumps, all the old ones, steal them whole from U8, plus bottomless bag. Magic Frisbee. So they've reduced it down to 2 halves instead of 3 pieces. Journal, already have it. Golgaron's book, stalactites, okay. Nothing else there. So what else have we got? Oh, we got a bug report form. So they were doing testing. This is one of the reasons, this document is one of the main reasons. Oh wow, May 10, 1994 is my friend's birthday and there was an annular eclipse. I skipped class to watch it since total annularity was visible from my school and I do not regret it. I've never seen an eclipse before. I've had chances, but there's always been too many clouds. That's the date of my Uncle Troy's birthday. A bottomless bag doesn't sound useful. Everything would fall out. So I failed the virtue of honor that day. True. But thou lived up to the virtue of spirituality. So there's a bug report form. That means there must have been this must have been sent to somebody. I asked Don DeRuin about if he knew anything about the testing, because he was the head QA for Pagan, and he told me that the Lost Vale, Cran the delinquent, he told me that Lost Vale was, quote, strictly an EA product. Tony Zurovec told me, I was shocked by what Tony Zurovec told me. Okay, there's our 5 minutes. Tony Zurovec told me that, not much work was actually done on the Lost Vale, which was that was really interesting to me. He told me there was like limited work on it. So that flew in the face of what we're commonly told. So that's interesting to me. But he didn't work on Lost Vale, so he may not exactly have known. But Don DeRuin told me that the Origin testers were not allowed to touch Lost Vale. He said that it was strictly an EA product and that they had their own testers, and the EA testers were the ones that actually handled the Lost Vale. So there could be there could be people out there that nobody would even consider contacting because they worked for EA and they didn't work for Origin. They worked for EA, the testers that tested this possibly. So that's a really big question mark, and I don't know how to track down who were the playtesters and QA people at EA that would have handled projects for Origin. They weren't Origin employees, they were EA employees. So that's a really big question mark. So now we're getting into the juicy parts, the character list. Carrie Grainer. This is our girl. I wish I could contact her. I don't know how to contact her at the moment. So if anybody knows how to contact Carrie Grainer, please let me know. Have her on my Facebook. Ask her if I can email her. Tell me about her. Say, Dr. Yasman is a PhD in law, helping the Ultima Codex. Oh, she might not have responded. Oh, okay. I'll check. Character list for the Lost Vale. Because of the scarcity of water, the infertility of the land, and the difficulty of finding food, people are too busy trying to survive to engage in other means of vocation. So they're basically subsistence farmers. These are not people that worship the Titans. They do not worship the Titans. These are pre-Guardian people. These are people that continue the line of culture from before the Guardian. Group 1. So there's two groups. So there's Ezra Cole, and then there's Group 1, female elder, Lisa. Lisa, it's your birthday. Female elder, Lisa, descendant of Flossie's family. Oh, Flossie is the... Flossie. What's the other one? So there must be Group 2. What's the other ghost? What's the other ghost? What did we say the other ghost was? God damn it. Is it in the email? Snoring. There we go. Okay. Head of Group 1. Ancestor of Group 1. Ancestor of Group 2. Descendant of Flossie's family. Older sister of Vet. Hates other group because Moonshiners sells liquor to her brother. Carries torch of hatred for the other group. So this one is actually named. Not all these names. So male, Vietnam vet, PTS syndrome, Sherry. So we can name this after one of you all. Maybe we can call this guy, maybe this guy can be, he can be like, he can be Thanatos, so he can be, maybe he can be James. We can call this guy James after Neko. We can call him... We can call him Ragnir. We could call him... You get the idea. We could call him Tante. Anyway, so this is the elder of one family. Hates other group because Moonshiner sells liquor to her brother. Carries torch of hatred, so it's two feuding families. Then we've got the brother of the elder. He tried to climb the cliffs, fell, should have died and didn't, so he survived a mortal injury. Having trouble dealing with the fact he lived and his best buddy died. Drinks to cover it. Random generates whether drunk or not. Conversation changes drastically. Essentially a walking death wish. You know what? I think we should do a quest. We should do a quest with this guy. So that's the art notes. Let's make a quest notes. Plot notes. Side quests. Use speak with dead necromancy spell to speak to Vietnam vet to vet's best friend. if the player does this, if the avatar does this, he can speak to the ghost of the best friend, who will tell the avatar that everything is okay and Vet should not feel guilty. He will also tell the avatar, he will also give the avatar access, also tell the avatar how to get a, what is it, like a token, how to get a thing, how to get a personal thing of his that will, that Vet can remember him by. If the player brings this thing back, decide what the thing is, I'll put a note, decide, bring this thing back to Vet, Vet will be relieved and have much to reconsider. By the time the player completes, so if the avatar finishes the main Lost Vale quest and goes back to speak to Vet, I'm just brainstorming here. If anybody's got input, please feel free to chip in. Where are we? So if the avatar goes back to speak to Vet, let me make that bigger for thee. There we go. The avatar finishes the main Lost Vale quest and goes back to speak to Vet. They will find that he is on the journey to recovery and wants to go sober and wants to go sober. Oh no, I'll just say wants to fix his life up. New lease. Life will be hard, but he has hope now. There we go. Hail Flux, great to see thee! What updates from your corner of the globe and how can we exert control? Can you make at least this part of the stream available as a VOD? I'm only able to half pay attention at work and I'd like to have it proper. Oh yeah, definitely I will VOD this. I'll definitely VOD this. So Vietnam Vet is a male character. He tried to climb the cliffs, which are very important, and he went with his friend, and the friend died. He lived, and his best friend didn't. So he drinks to cover the pain. He hates himself and he blames himself. So here's my idea for a side quest for the Lost Vale. You get your speak with dead necromancy spell. It does indeed. Oh, and Flux, I'm gonna do a stream talking about the election next week. The morning before the election. So the day before the election. I think I'll probably be alive on election day as well. But on election day, I'm gonna do election day coverage the day before the election. On actual election day itself, I will not be talking about it too much, just so that it'll be a stream that people will be able to come to and have a break from that and have a break from it. Yeah. But updates from my current. Well, I'm here on the Sword Coast today. The weather on the Sword Coast is there is a magical storm. There's a magical storm up in Neverwinter. They are having green snow, and it's kind of weird and oozy. It's got a weird texture. It comes down frozen and then it touches the ground and it kind of melts into this ooze. Yeah. Nobody really knows what caused it, but there is a feeling that the Asterlanders, who are some sort of like they're a culture of minotaurs that are like, they do a lot of piracy, but there's there's a feeling that I heard rumors that they are some Asterlander pirates have been colluding with a wizard from Luskan to cause problems for Neverwinter, so that they can, make raiding the Neverwinter ships easier. But who knows if that's true? Yeah. Also, the Water Lord of Waterdeep is in deep trouble. Deep trouble. Deep trouble. He's been accused of some very bad things, and unlike in Earthrealm, he is actually going to pay. He's actually going to suffer some serious consequences. The Water Lord, who is the man at the top of the ladder in Waterdeep, is most likely going to be deposed and replaced entirely. Anyway, there's the latest updates from the Sword Coast. Okay, so here's the quest. Tell me if you think it's good, or if you think it's played out, if you think it's too obvious, if you think it's just, I don't know. But I feel like it could just be a touching little quest you can do to help this guy out. You're not going to fix him. You can't fix everybody, but so I want to make it kind of more subtle, but just something to add a little bit of hope, So the idea is you can go on your own. You can find his best friend's dead body, and if you cast the Speak with Dead spell on it, then the ghost will tell you, basically, you'll speak to him a bit, you'll find out who he is, and you'll go, oh, you're Vet's brother. You're Vet's best buddy. And he'll tell you, and you can tell him that Vet is in trouble. The ghost will say, oh, how's Vet doing? And you can go, oh, Vet, you'll click the button, it'll say Vet, and it'll find out, like, he'll say, oh, well, he shouldn't feel guilty. We came up here, we were trying to do our best, and, he lived. Something like that. It'll be, I'll figure out I'll flesh out the details. So then he will say something of mine, maybe like a necklace, or maybe like a sword, or something like that, or something, some item, some object that was like really personal, or something that everybody knows would identify. Cliff climbing has its risks, that's right. We tried to climb, we knew I knew what I was getting into. And I did this for the people of the Lost Vale, for the Zealands. We knew we had to do this because we wanted to defeat the Titans, we wanted to free our gods. And this was the only way, and nobody else was doing this. You can still help. Tell him that he can still, because of our sacrifice, because of my sacrifice, he lived. And so, because you lived, you can carry my legacy forward. And this is, and to help you remember that, he will tell the Avatar, go find, maybe like a journal would be a good thing. A journal might be a good one. And he can say, here's my personal journal, or something like that. Bring this to Vet, and maybe that will help him remember me, and help him remember what really happened that day. And so you bring it back to Vet, and then Vet will go, maybe he'll like look at the journal or something like that, and then he'll be relieved. He's not going to just suddenly get happy, because nobody does that. But he'll tell you, like, well, I'm going to have to think about this, and then he'll go to, and then he'll sit down to read the book or something. So then he will, when you see him next, he won't be drunk. And when you see him next, he won't be drunk. And then eventually, when you finish the Lost Vale content, if you speak to him again, you'll find out that he has decided he wants to fix his life up. And he has hope now. Something small, side quest, And maybe in exchange for help for reconnecting him to the memory of his friend, he can give you like a thing that helps you on your quest. Maybe he gives you something you need. Something like that. That's a side quest idea. So Vet quest. And we need to name Vet. Should you visit the birthplace of Morians and hope for a visitation? That is content that I do want to bring. I do want to restore as well. It says, it looks like they decided to make that male. It was a female hunter, and it looks like it says male now. They crossed it out and they wrote male over the top. But I kind of want to keep it female. Why did they do that? Female, male, 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 male. It needs to be, no, it needs to be female. They're not going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 male characters. These are the NPCs that are going to be the main important ones. We're really going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're really going to have 4 of the 5 main NPCs be male? Hell no. This is going to be female. So she is, the males are, oh yeah, oh yo, maybe, yeah. Married to farmer. Oh, I like that. Okay, yeah, we'll keep them. Let's keep them. That's a good idea, Grant. That's a good idea, Grant. 2 male hunters. 2 male hunters. Married. I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking about the gender diversity. But you're right. You're right. Let's keep it like that because that'll be good. That'll be good to have too. That'll be a good little, just a good little bit of subtle representation. Comes from generations of hunters, remembers stories the grandfather told it, her grandfather told it, a bigger game, wishes for bigger game. Harpies would be good challenge, a story to add, but has to think of the family. Loves husband dearly, but can't understand why he's happy mucking about in the mud. Yeah, male farmer. This kid goes everywhere. So, okay. Stories her father told her about big game, wishes for bigger game.
Fucking low.
Let's see. Hunter. Oh, no, one's a farmer. Male and female hunter. Male. Farmer and male hunter married. Hunter could discuss the world outside. Dream of seeing the world. Yo! Because this one wants bigger game, maybe this guy could be a companion. This guy could be a companion. This guy could be a companion. Could be companion, because we are going to have companions. We are going to have companions. Okay, male farmer. Trying to instill in son love of the land, but child has mother's wanderlust. Proud of wife, and they crossed all this out. They were going to wipe out this character entirely. Interesting. Proud of wife for how she keeps meat on the table, but also proud of how he can bring life from such poor soil. As long as he can do that, there's hope. Yeah. I think this one... Harpies would be good challenger story to add, yeah. So this can be a companion. This is definitely a companion. Guess they meant them to all be one. Yeah, one. It says one. They were going to combine these into one character. We're not going to do that. Oh, so this was going to be one male character that is a hunter. So they were going to wipe out the they were going to get rid of the farmer character, and it was just going to be a man and his child. Ah, okay. You know, that's interesting that they decided, well, we're wiping out the hunter character, so we're just going to make it a man. So it was going to be female, male, male. Oh, so it was going to be a woman and 2 men and a kid. No, we're going to keep both of these characters. We're going to keep both of these characters. So group 2, male elder. Very sad man, lost his wife. His daughter is the spitting image of his wife, blames the other tribe for the loss of his wife, neglecting some duties as leader due to his depression. Terribly overprotective of daughter. This is a character that I think would be a very good companion. This is a good companion option as well. It can be whatever you want. Yeah, I think so, Cran. I could make these both female characters as well. That might be fun. So Techhead, female inventor, trailblazer, a positive voice. Damn it, let the feud go. Attitude, aggravated with both tribes for their continuation. Yeah, that's what I was. Maybe I could do that, Cran. That might be fun too. Aggravated with both tribes for their continuation to sit in the ashes and wait about the gods being gone. Feels we must move forward to achieve anything. There is a better way. Can't sit and wait for gods that never existed. Atheist invention. I think this would be a good companion. And because she's an inventor, she can travel with you, she can make lockpicks for you, she can make potions. Like you can maybe every once in a while she could give you a potion. Every once in a while she could give you a lockpick. You know, I think that'd be a really good companion. I think that would be a really good companion. So I think we have group 2. Tech Ed will be companion. I think I already decided on that, but I'm confirming it now. It's the moonshine guy. Handicapped, can't work in fields, so found a way to survive. If not found a way to survive, would have been left out on the rocks for the harpies. Opportunist takes inventor's words and twists them. So this shows you how ruthless they've become, because they're very utilitarian. You know, if you can't do something for us, then we're gonna let you die. Opportunist takes inventor's words and twists them. He's supplying a commodity for a demand, just trying to make a living. So he's a moonshiner. I think we should do a quest for him somehow. He should do a quest where he wants stuff from... He's an opportunist. So, the moonshiner side quest. He needs something from the farmer in the other group in order to make his moonshine. You have to go to her and convince her or maybe 2 women. Couple. You have to go to her and convince her to give stuff. To give plant stuff for the moonshiner. Okay. So, female farmer, Sherry. We've always done it this way. Oh, and why doesn't he just go to the farmer? Why doesn't... He can't just go to the farmer in his group because she grows the wrong crops now. She switched to a new crop that isn't suitable for moonshine anymore. We've always done it this way. Because Inventor doesn't believe things when gods do come back, they'll punish all the Zealands. Doesn't trust new technology, wishes they would throw Inventor out with Ezrakal, preaches to PC about the gods while sabotaging Inventor. Female child of Inventor. Okay, so let's look at one of the plot documents. What's this? Alien speak. Oh, we've got a bit of use code too. We've got actual use code. Yo, look, it's pagan use code. Fuck. Eh? What? A pagan? Here? A pagan? Eh? What? A pagan? A pagan here? No! Get gone, you foul creature of the dark! Leave me or call upon the ancient ones. I'll blast you from my sight and they will return. Wait. Get gone, you foul creature of the dark! Leave me or call upon the ancient ones I will, and blast you from my sight they will. Oh, this is where they're debating. Zealands are the same species as Yoda. Yeah, it seems like it. Since we're using a different structure, we might want to consider using shorter, choppier sentences. Example, leave me you must, or call upon the ancient ones I will. From my sight they will blast you. Just a thought. Ezrakal, my name is... Ezrakal, my name is. Sorry I am, acted so rudely before I did. The mark of the Zealands upon you, see I did not. Funny, not like a Zealand you look. Different you look, different you speak. If not a pagan you are, what are you? And then you can say, I am from Britannia. And they didn't spell Britannia correctly. In their own code. I mean, I know people make typos. But you didn't spell Britannia correctly. This is the 8th game in the series. Come on! This still seems a little hard to follow. Instead of always using the passive verb, why not use the main verb or the active? Example, the mark of the Zealands upon you I did not see. I actually don't like that as much. The mark of the Zealands upon you I did not see. I live in Tenebrae. Oh, thou does really drip plugs. How's Tenebrae these days? I have not been there. I've not been there myself. I played the game that it's based on, of course, but I've not been to the actual place. Again, just a thought, seems more clear to me. Back to the great cataclysm I mentioned it all goes. Yeah, I don't know, I think they went backwards. The Yoda speak was actually better than the new way. This still seems awkward to me. I think we're still having trouble with the structure. Why don't we meet to make sure we're all on the same wavelength? It's quite possible I'm the only one who's confused. When occurred that did, rush to the high priestess the people did and demanded an answer from the ancient ones should get on how the battles to stop. Answer her the ancients would not. Accuse her of lying the people did. Out of their village they ran, and come back they forbade her until communicated with the ancient ones she had. Many years ago that was. Still for the ancients to speak I wait, as my mother did and her mother before her. Why have you been away from your people? This is Ezrakal. So Ezrakal speaks like Yoda. What's this? Oh, this is music. So we've got a song for Lost Vale, we've got a song for climbing, we've got a song for the Cloud City, and we've got a song for the shrine. We've got 4 songs. There's only 4 songs we need. We're gonna need somebody to make music. Somebody's gonna need to make music. Otherwise, I'm just gonna put in music from something I like. You know, it's just gonna be like I don't know. Here's the pitch document. Oh, this is the pitch document. This is how they pitched it. So okay, here's an overview of the story. This is what y'all want. This is what y'all really want to hear. We're gonna get into the nitty-gritty later, but story. Ages ago, during the Zealand pagan wars, Lithos and Hydros, the titans of earth and water, worked to entomb the bulk of the Zealand communities within the valley that was their homeland, separating them from their warriors. To further prevent escape or entry, all 4 titans banded together to forge impenetrable magical seals, all contained within a hidden dungeon. Trapped within their Lost Vale, inbreeding and a dearth of food and water have left the Zealands weak. Relatively recent events have caused a rift, dividing the proud race into 2 factions. Having heard nothing of their once powerful deities in far too long, they have banished their shaman, speaker to the gods, that's Ezrakal, and abandoned all hope of producing further surviving generations. But Lord British, speaking through a mystical channel created by Nystil, pierces the Guardian's veil and speaks momentarily to the Avatar, bidding him to learn more of the ancient race of Zealands from the mage called Mithrin. Mithrin directs the Avatar to the studies of other explorers, revealing the probable location of magical seals that lead to the Lost Vale. Okay, so that's why Lord British is... So Lord British is not literally... I don't think Lord British is literally character art in it. I think it's just portrait art. I think it's just a portrait of Lord British they were going to make. Because the idea is he speaks to you through, you know... He speaks to you through like a vision. He doesn't actually go to pagan. Magical seals that lead to the Lost Vale. Yeah, exactly. You know what this tells me? this tells me that Pagan, Lost Vale doesn't need to be in the overworld. It can be on a separate map. I don't like Lord British being involved. I feel it detracts from the sense of loneliness. Yeah, I can understand that. What does everybody else think? Do we want the vision from Lord British? There's multiple ways we could do it. Because you have to get there through breaking magical seals? Or maybe you break the magical seals and that unlocks a pathway in the overworld. Through mountains or something. I don't see why he would know of Mithrin. Yeah. What about this? So here's some proposals. You feed fish to the magical I'm not sure if serious. Because that could be like a... seal emote. Oh, the magical seals! Why would Lord British even know the Avatar was there? Yeah, that's true. That's true. So here's my proposal. Here, let me draw a diagram. Let's draw a diagram. So here's my proposal. Y'all can. I'm gonna tell this to the public for the first time. I've never. This is. We have to interpret these design documents literally. Okay. Okay, 100%. Okay. Pagan plot. Damn it, that's way too small. Pagan. Damn it. Pagan plot. Okay. I can make that bigger. Pagan plot flow. Okay. We're gonna make a chart. Let's see. Act 1. So... Introduction. Act 1. Okay. So I'm gonna show you all... I've been thinking about this for about a week or so. I've been thinking about this for maybe a week or two. I've been plotting this out. I want to make Pagan open world. I don't want it to be as linear. I want it to be open world like Ultima 7. So here's how I'm thinking we do it. So Act 1, we do it like this. Introduction, arrival. I've got a document somewhere in the background that I'm not willing to show to anybody yet. That I think I can... Where is it? Okay, let's see. Let me find my design document. I'm not willing to show the design document yet because it's not ready, but... okay. It's Lost Vale stuff. So I've been plotting out how to make Pagan open world without it screwing up the whole game. Okay, here we go. So Act 1, arrival and introduction. Well, it's more like... Yeah. Look around, learn about Pagan. That's annoying. Learn about pagan. How to escape via magic. And then we do join the necromancers. Okay, this sounds familiar, right? This sounds familiar, right? This is how it pretty much goes in the game. This is Act 1. So then we get to Act 2. This is where it opens up a bit. Act 2. Open world. Once necromancy is unlocked, is achieved, is gained, focus on other three skills.
You're just a machine. You're just a machine.
Okay, so then we go do them in any order. So this is how I'm plotting it out. Do them in any order. So here's what's gonna happen. 3 other cities. 3 schools, other schools. Sorcery. Go to Sorcerer's Enclave. And then it's Theurgy. Go to Argent Rock Isle. And then it's Tempestry. Go to Maris. After freeing Hydros. Underwater City. Get a underwater city. So in the cut content, we know that there was supposed to be an underwater city called. It wasn't called anything. We don't know what the name was going to be. I've just decided that it's going to be called Maris because it's, you know, it evokes the sea, like mare, the Latin word. So it might not have that. Might not actually end up being called that in the game. That's just what I'm calling it for now. So. Pretty good name. I'm glad thou thinks so. Yeah, I really like. I like it too. So, getting to the Lost Vale. So here's what happens. Both place Amorians. So the cut content. Let me put the cut content in red. The cut content is red. Tempestry. Oh yeah, they want the name? Go to Maris. Old City, sunken by Hydros in Lithos. After freeing Hydros. Defeat Hydros once and for all. Calm the seas. Allow boat travel. Okay. So visit birthplace of Morians. So that's going to happen as well. Flux, thou asked about that. The birthplace of Morians is going to be in. That is going to be in. Where is it? Undead invasion of Tenebrae after Heart of Earth is gained. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. And you might ask, how do we get to the Lost Vale though? Oh, and that last track. I got the name here. By big giant circles and Alexander Brandon. There they'll go. Okay, so anything red is cut content. Red equals cut content restored. There we go. Okay, so Act 3. Act 3 is the Lost Vale. Act 3 is actually the Lost Vale. So how do we get there? Although I guess in theory you could just avoid, maybe you could avoid doing it. So Act 3 is the Lost Vale. Let me make this bigger because we need to make it bigger. So Act 3 is the Lost Vale. We should make that red. Act 3. Lost Vale. Okay, so this is what it's going to be. Trigger. It triggers. Unlocks once the avatar has mastered at least 2 schools of magic. Necromancy and 1 other. So, okay, that's where I'm placing it in the game. So we can... So there's 2 ways we can do this. We could have it be... so there could be how to learn about it. So how do we want to learn about it? Could be 1, Lord British. Lord British Vision, as in design docs. Or it could be must learn enough clues from each place has clues. Each magic school, quest path, and region has some clues, but you need clues from at least 2 places to piece it together, and then tell them to Mithrin, who figures it out. Okay, what does that sound like? So we can do it like, okay, so if we go up, we can do it like this. So here's how it's going to be open world. The beginning of the game, up till you've mastered necromancy, up till the avatar has mastered necromancy, the game is pretty much exactly the same. It's going to be basically 1-to-1 in terms of the progression of the plot. Then once you've mastered necromancy, all of a sudden it opens up. You can go to Sorcerer's Enclave, you can go to Argent Rock Isle, you can go to Maris. The old sunken city. It's an old sunken city. Hydros and Lithos, you know, got together and they sunk it beneath the waves to punish them. But, you know, like the recent, what you've done to Lithos has broken open caverns and tunnels that will lead down under, that will lead, you know, there's been tectonic shifts that have kind of shifted Maris, the city, and it's now accessible through tunnels, through caverns, right? So you can go to any one of those 3 areas, right? You can do them in any order. There's 3 places. You got to do at least one of them. Then again, let me say from multiple places. You could have it so that there's clues. You need clues. You need to learn enough clues. So maybe we should have it so I've got it as once you've mastered 2 schools, necromancy and 1 other. Maybe we should make it necromancy and 2 others, right? 3 schools, right? So then you've got to do either sorcery and tempestry, or you've got to do theurgy and tempestry, or you've got to do theurgy and sorcery. Once you've done any 2 of the schools in Act 2, so once you've got 3 magic schools under your belt, necromancy and 2 others, then you can learn about, you should have enough clues by then to learn about the Lost Vale. So then the idea would be, no matter where you go, if you go to sorcery, theurgy, or tempestry, all of them have clues about the Lost Vale's existence. So, all of them have clues about the Lost Vale's existence. And you can learn a clue. So you might find a book, for example, that talks about, you might find like a Zealand book in Argent Rock Isle, and it talks about an ancient valley. And it talks about a valley somewhere that Zealand's lived in. And you can take that back to Mithrin, and by itself it won't get you to the Lost Vale, but you can ask him about it. You could say, and the keyword will just be valley. And so then you tell Mithrin about it, and he says, I'll have to do some research, but I've heard stories about, I have heard stories about an ancient valley where Zealand's lived, but it's hard to know what happened to them. Because those, you know, the books and the stories have all been lost to time. But thank you for bringing this to me. So then you go to, Maris. You go to Maris, and one of the people there tells you that they, you know, there's a story, tells you like they give you like a piece of maybe they give you like a piece of a chunk of magical rock, or a piece of a magical seal, or something like that, or they give you a map or something like that. And maybe not a map, they don't give you a map, but maybe they tell you a story, they give you a clue. One of them says, oh yeah, my grandpa, my great grandpa, you know, my great grandpappy, he said that the Zealands were locked behind a magical seal, and that if you could break the seal, you could find the Zealands. And so then you can go tell Mithrin about it, and you can say seal to Mithrin. And then if you've already told him about the book, then Mithrin will remember that you told him about the book. And then once you tell him about the seal, then he'll piece it together, and he'll say, Avatar, this all links up. I think there's a place that we can go to. We just have to... This seal and this story about the valley, this sounds like a magical signature that I have detected somewhere up to the north. You should go check it out, Avatar. And then that will set you on the path to getting to the Lost Vale, right? What do you all think about that? Does that sound like a better way to do it than a vision from Lord British? That's my cockamamie plan. That's my cockamamie suggestion. Okay, and that's the Lost Vale. That's how you get to the Lost Vale, I think. That's my proposal. So what? So then Act 4. So Act 4. So Act 4 is basically the same. Final preparations. Act 4. Gather artifacts. Final preparations, gather artifacts. I think the undead invasion actually needs to go here because that's once you got the Heart of Earth, right? The British could still phone up and ask where the hell the Avatar... True. We could do that in Act 2. Lord British Vision via Nystal. Lord British Vision. Avatar. Where the fuck are you? Where'd you pike and go? There we go. Avatar, where'd you pike and go? There we go. We'll put that in Act 2. So Act 4, final preparations, gather artifacts, undead invasion of Tenebrae after the Heart of Earth is gained. What else? Assemble the obelisk. That's not red though, that's black. Assemble the obelisk. Okay, here's what I'm thinking as well. Remember there was a mention... Oh, of course. How did I get that wrong? Yeah, that's true. He wouldn't be formal to the Avatar anyway, because they're friends. Of course he would say that. Avatar, where the fuck art thou? Assemble the obelisk. Here's one thing that I'm thinking as well. Y'all can... So remember the mention of... Remember there was a mention of the Guardian's Palace. The Guardian's Palace. I was thinking... Obelisk assembly could be at place at Guardian's Palace. Okay, temple where the Guardian first came through. The Pagan. That was cut content. There was supposed to be like, I mean, there was talk about a Guardian's Palace, I think in Ultima, one of the Ultima Underworlds, and there were references to it in some of the books, I think. But we never saw it. It was, if it was meant to be in the game, it was cut. I think it was cut. And so I've read that was cut from the game. So I think we should have the obelisk assembly. The Black Gate, you know, the obelisk should be made at the palace. The temple where the Guardian first came through the Pagan. And then the final act. Thaumaturgy. Titan of Ether. Use, defeat each Titan once and for all using Zealand God blessings and all 5 magic schools. Step through Moongate. Actually see Britannia, a snippet of Britannia in ruins. Okay. So this is my... What did thou think? What did thou all think? This is how I've plotted out... This is how I've plotted the game out as an open world. This is how I've plotted Pagan out as an open world thing. So we have... Here it is. So we have Act 1. We have Act 1. Arrival, introduction, learn about Pagan, how to escape through magic, join the necromancers. Then Act 2, once you've got necromancy, once you've unlocked necromancy, once you've mastered necromancy, you focus on the other 3 schools. You can do them in any order. You can travel to Argent Rock Isle, you can go to the Sorcerer's Enclave, you can go to Maris, you can visit them in any order. They'll all have, you know, basic dialogue if you know, nothing needs you to be there right at that moment. You can go there in any order. Once you go to Maris, and once you've done maybe 1 or 2 of these places, you'll find enough clues to visit the Lost Vale. Once you've told enough clues to Mithrin, then he will be able to figure out about the Lost Vale and where it is. And then you'll go blow up the seals. He'll tell you where it is. You can do the Lost Vale content. Then in Act 4, you're making your final preparations. You gather the artifacts, the Heart of Earth, you know, Breath of Wind, Tear of the Seas, Tongue of Flame, something that sort of stuff. Or we might just do that in Act 2, I don't know. Anyway, your final preparations, you assemble the obelisk, you do it at the Guardian's Palace. Act 5, get your Thaumaturgy, become the Titan of Ether, defeat all the Titans once and for all using the blessings from the Zealand gods, step through the Moongate, and then you actually see a snippet of Britannia in ruins. And that's Pagan. Call it Route 8 Exalt. AKA Pagan Exalted Edition. Plot. Plot. Word. Open world. Plot flow document. Need to move all this down a little bit. This would have been better to do as an actual text document, but whatever. Thank thee for stepping through the Moongate, Cutter. Much appreciated. We have anonymous follows here, so if thou would like to keep on lurking, thou can. I'm gonna post this in the Discord server. For anybody who wants to see it, we'll call that Pagan Flow. Let's see, where are we? Ultima 8, Design Docs. Plot flow. I'll post this in a few Discord servers so y'all can look at it at your own pace. I'll put it in the media channel. Here's my proposed restructuring of the pagan plot for my remake in Exalt. Hey, old King of Silver River. Was sure I followed already. Oh yeah, that happens. That happens, Cutter. Here's my proposed, currently planned plot flow. Restructured it to allow for it to be open world. It's just a basic outline. Stuff can change, of course. And just for posterity, let's put that in Neko's server as well. Okay. Okay, everybody. So, all right. So once you're in the dungeon, the avatar faces, where is it? Oh, yeah, that's right. Welcome in. We're doing an art stream today. I mean, of course, I do all sorts of topics. I do a bit of politics. I do a bit of artwork. I do some retro gaming. Lesbian hot sauce is great. I need to bring her on here because she knows about Myanmar, and there's not many people that have detailed knowledge about Myanmar, and I cover the revolution in Myanmar, so I need to bring her on to have a chat about that sometime. So once you're in the dungeon, the avatar faces many perils to find the seals and use the power of each one's antithesis against it. At that point, the avatar must use his magic of necromancy for the last time until departing the Vale to enter the Zealand homeland. Once again, on unfamiliar ground, the avatar learns that the Titans hold little in the way of magical power in the Vale, and therefore so does he. Inside the Vale, the avatar encounters many physical and mental challenges, all which must be overcome to reunite the warring factions not only with each other, but also with their shaman. Only then can the avatar free the ancient Zealand deities and gain of their wisdom and power. Yeah. So we have a more detailed plot outline. Where are we? We find the pagan documents. We're currently looking at design documents for an unreleased game, King of Silver River. So here's a document called the Lost Vale walkthrough. So upon installing the game, the disc, that's the game for the Lost Vale, the avatar sees a vision of Lord British. Lord British tells the avatar that Nystil, his magician, has managed to break through the Guardian's veil of magic to send a message to the avatar. Lord British tells the avatar that there is a race of people on Pagan who can help the avatar. Lord British sends the avatar to Mithrin for more information about these people. The avatar goes to Mithrin and asks about the ancient race. Mithrin explains that he had a vision of a strange man from another world. The man in the vision told Mithrin of one who had come seeking knowledge of the Zealands. This vision convinces Mithrin to tell the avatar about the Zealands, despite the fact that doing so might possibly incur the wrath of the Titans. So Lord British appears to Mithrin as well. I don't know what the explanation would be that how the avatar knows about Mithrin to contact him in the first place. I'm not sure about that. Maybe Nystil would know, I don't know. Mithrin tells the avatar about a man named Galgeron who had been searching for the Zealands. Mithrin had not seen this man in a very long time. However, Mithrin tells the avatar that Galgeron could most likely be found on the other side of a huge set of double doors which are in a cavern in the plateau. Mithrin tells the avatar where the key that unlocks the doors can be found. The Avatar must solve some damn puzzle to get the key. I like how they say that. Like, even they're kind of annoyed by it. They're like, oh, some damn puzzle. Why does he has to solve another damn puzzle? Inside of the doors, the Avatar finds a dead body which turns out to be Galgeron. As it turns out, Galgeron kept a journal which described his efforts to find the Lost Vale. The journal also mentions that in order to get to the Lost Vale, one must find 4 magic coupons. Like how they call them coupons. Each coupon representing an element. So off goes the Avatar into a dungeon which is divided into 4 parts. Each different part of the dungeon has a different elemental theme. Once the Avatar has gone through the entire dungeon, he's faced with a blockade of, you guessed it, elemental forces. 4 pillars: earth, air, fire, and water. Earth, air, fire, water. Coupons, yeah, the slang is so funny. So funny, James. If the Avatar has all of the coupons, he can use the opposite power in each pillar to destroy all of the pillars. Example, fire coupon on water pillar. When the Avatar finds the Lost Vale, he finds a place that was once lush and beautiful but is now barren and desolate. The once unified Zealands have separated into 2 factions, each living near one of the 2 sources of water left in the Vale. Ezrakal, the High Priestess of the Zealand religion, has been shunned by the 2 communities, and the communities are involved in a destructive blood feud. Apparently, the 2 communities of Zealands are now sharply divided over how the Zealands should live. One group claims that the Zealands should remain within the Vale. The other group claims that the Zealands should seek out and live amongst the pagans. Yeah, so they've been divided. So Ezrakal, who's the High Priestess, she has been kicked out basically because she's been kicked out, and the two towns of Zealands are basically feuding. They're not quite at war. Well, no, destructive blood feud, so they're at war. Sharply divided over how the Zealands should live. Some want to leave the Vale and basically just give up. Go to the pagans, just give up. Why are we holding out? The other group says, no, fuck the pagans. They killed our god. They destroyed the planet. They literally brought about the apocalypse. It's their fault. And the other group says, that was a really long time ago. There's nothing we can do about it. Let's just move on. So, if the Avatar tries to talk to any of the Zealands, he'll be attacked as an outsider or hailed as a visiting pagan. Having been shut off from water, except for the 2 small spring wells which support the 2 communities, the Zealand civilization is dying on the vine, and the Zealands are becoming more and more hostile and untrusting of anyone outside of their community. Through exploration or through one of the Zealands, the Avatar will learn about the whereabouts of the High Priestess. There's like a test in here somewhere. This must be the test tree they were talking about. Upon finding Ezrakal, the Avatar will learn that she has been shunned by her former flock because she can no longer... Let me turn that music down. Ezrakal tells the Avatar that a very long time ago, before she was old and leathery... I like how they specifically said old and leathery. What the hell? The pagan titans attacked the Zealand gods during the Great Council. The Great Council being a gathering of all Zealands once a year. Upon this attack, the Zealand gods was sealed in the Shrine of the Wheaties. The Shrine of the Wheaties. Wheaties, everybody, the Shrine of the Wheaties. Most of the Zealands escaped, but some were also sealed in the shrine. The Zealands that escaped did not understand the attack and mistook it as the gods being angry with them. Joan attempted to reach the only gods that had not arrived at the Great Council. Love, hate, and apathy, but in the attack on the gods, Ezrakal lost her magic frisbee. This sounds like it wasn't that long ago that... This sounds like it wasn't that long ago that Pagan was destroyed. I thought it was like hundreds of years ago, but it sounds like it was just like 70 years ago or something. It was like 60, 70 years ago. You know, like maybe like 50, 60, 70 years ago. How long ago was it that it actually happened? Could Ezrakal have actually lived through that? The Zealands that escaped did not understand the attack and mistook it as the gods being angry with them. Yeah. The magic frisbee is, it seems, essential in communicating with the gods. Whenever a person talks to the Zealand gods, that person needs some special item which is associated with the gods in order to talk to them, i.e. the ancient Zealand shield and the Shrine of the Ancient Ones. The Avatar scales the cliffs of insanity which leads to the home of the gods. In times past, no Zealand would ever dare to try to reach the Cloud World where the gods reside. However, since the gods have abandoned them, some Zealands have attempted to scale the cliffs to discover why the gods have left them. In the process of scaling the cliffs, the Avatar finds the bones of many a dead Zealand. Isn't Stelos hundreds of years old? Yeah. So when did it actually happen? I need to figure out... So maybe the Titans are still going out and attacking people. I want to know a timeline of Pagan. I need a timeline of Pagan. When the hell was it? When was the time of the Zealands? Rule of the Titans? Let's see. The Chronicle of Pagan. When the hell... When was it? Stratos. There's no one left, not even Stratos, who could put the name Sun to the Eye of Stratos. You can glimpse a pale disc. It's called the Eye of Stratos. No one left, not even Stratos, who could put the name Sun to the Eye of Stratos. But long before the new gods came and vanquished Apethus, my father, the sun shone... Apethus, my father, the sun shone brightly on an island of verdant life. This is a very good question. And now, oh, pagan calendar. This is what I need. The naming convention of these months is not obvious. The name mostly remains mysterious. A length of 270 days divided into 45 weeks. The Avatar arrived on Pagan on the first day of the year on Gar Day, the first of Stonemark. It is said that the sorcerers came into being centuries after Stellar's founding the Order. Putting all these clues, the year count starts after the Battle of the Titans against the Destroyer. About 150 to 200 pagan years. Stelos was already a rather old man when Stratos made him immortal. He claims to be over 200, roughly when she called him. This only happened some years after Hydros was trapped. Enough time had passed after the battle for the pagans to erect monuments for the Titans, and severe infighting occurred between them before Lithos is pacified. Judging by the events with the sorcerers, Stratos approached him at least over 400 years ago. 800 pagan years. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Okay. Um, 800 years. Yeah, so it was a very long time ago. Okay. So this was happening, so that when Ezrakar was a kid, so she's what, like 70 years old-ish? So they're still doing these attacks. Upon this attack, the Zealand gods were sealed in the Shrine of the Wheaties. So the Zealand gods were still doing stuff up until pretty recently then, right? That's interesting. The magic frisbee is, it seems, essential in communicating with the gods, yeah. The Avatar scales the cliffs of insanity, which leads to the home of the gods. Yeah, we did that. Once the Avatar finds the Cloud World, he discovers that the home of the gods has been deserted. The Avatar discovers a message from one of the gods, which has been left for apathy, love, and hate. The message tells the three gods that the Titans have attacked the pantheon of Zealand gods at the Great Council and that they need love, hate, and apathy's help as quickly as possible. Of course, love, hate, and apathy have been entombed down at the Shrine of Kumash Gore. The Avatar tells Ezrakar that the gods have been sealed into the Shrine of the Wheaties by the Titans. The Avatar and Ezrakar must then break through the wall which leads into the shrine. Some sort of explosive and a nice piece of used code would... Some sort of explosive and a nice piece of used code will do very well here. A nice piece of used code. Oh yeah, that's a nice piece of use code, baby. Once inside of the shrine, the Avatar finds that the gods are encased in an amber-like resin. They look like the shields in the movie Dune. Ezreal tells the Avatar that the gods need the faith of the people as much as the people need the strength of the gods. Maybe she should tell the Avatar this earlier in the plot. The Avatar must somehow reunite the two feuding tribes in order to free the gods from their entrapment. There's a young couple, one from each side of the feud, who are in love. The Avatar uses them to reunite the two factions in the shrine and uses the people's combined strength to free the gods. Gods release, water flows, green plants, Avatar gets his bag. Couple marry, all are happy, the end. Payoff weapon, bag of regents. Cool scenes. Yeah. I feel we need to edit this a bit. So there's a few versions of this, by the way. Like, we've got a plot synopsis with notes. The PC goes and returns to Mithrin and asks, we recommend that Mithrin give the PC the bag of endless regents at this point in the plot. So I wonder if this predates the walkthrough or not. Mithrin tells the PC about a man named Galderon. So this actually has notes about the plot. But yeah. So I guess that's the pay. I mean, we can look at this again. I think we'll need to look at this again. We need an NPC. Each part of the dungeon, we need an NPC. They want an NPC in the dungeon. Which is interesting. This area have a teleporter pattern so the player can return here quickly if he later uses the recall item to leave the Lost Vale. I'm looking for details about the gods when they were imprisoned. Oh, here we go. If the PC approaches the first group, they will ask him to pass a test in order to gain their trust. This group will ask the PC to kill a particularly nasty monster who has made a lair near the group's primary mushroom garden. This would be a good place to introduce one of the new Lost Vale monsters, a pack of harpies for instance. As a reward, they'll offer him an item of value, which they've recently stolen from the rival faction. If the PC approaches the second group, they'll react in a more hostile manner, attacking and capturing the PC. As a prisoner, the Avatar will be offered a chance to prove his worth to the group by recovering the item recently stolen by their rivals. This group of Zealands will only believe his story if he passes this test and brings back the item, which he can do by fulfilling the quest issued by the first group. Only after he has satisfied both quests will the groups agree to send escorts along with the PC to visit Ezreal. Yeah. Here we go. Upon finding Ezreal, PC will learn that she's been shunned by her former... You know what's interesting? Oh no. She's been shunned by her former flock because she can no longer bring the Zealand gods to speak to their followers. She says that she could speak to the gods, she could cure him, but the shield of the ancients has been broken and the gods no longer speak. She goes on to tell the PC that a long time ago, before she was old and leathery, they attacked the Zealand gods. During this attack, the gods were sealed in a shrine. Here's the thing. If the gods... The implication... The implication is that the Zealand gods can help you defeat the Titans. They can give you blessings to defeat the Titans. Why didn't they... Here we go. Once inside of the shrine, the PC finds that the gods are encased in a magical shell. Could we recycle the translucent blue fields from the Journey to Lithos portion of U8? These were cool, and doing this would save art space. Ezreal calls upon the newfound strength of the rejoined people, and in a set scene, break the gods free. The gods give the PC a symbolic representation of the rejoined shield. This comes in the form of a really powerful shield which maxes out the PC's armor rating. This would also alleviate some of the weight management problems experienced by players, since it would allow them to discard the rest of their armor in favor of the Great Shield. Since the gods have been released, they restart the flow of water. Within the Lost Vale, the land is restored, blah blah. In the final Lost Vale set scene, the gods further explain to the PC that if he defeats all 4 Titans, he may be able to achieve such a position himself. The Zealands would, after all, be strengthened by any reduction of the Titans' power. Ultima 8 overall would be aided by something of an explanation here concerning the weird endgame, which many customers have expressed puzzlement over. The gods might also offer some insight into what's happening in Britannia, as a teaser for Ultima 9. Yeah. So what I want to know is, why haven't if the gods were there and they survived, they're not kidding. Yeah, they're really not. So you could tell that they knew something. They knew that they really needed to fix the game. We suggest placing a small ruin and laboring at the birthplace of Morians. This would not be a difficult thing to do and would please a great number of customers. I love seeing that. How good is that to see that? We strongly recommend that Ultima 8 spellcasting not be removed from Lost Vale. Players would be greatly disappointed by the loss of this aspect of the game. The add-in would be weakened by the removal of spellcasting. Shield, no clothes. I am the Nudatar! It is kind of funny. If you're going to include any new magic weapons, we recommend using the Bone Crusher hammer mentioned in Ultima 8. Many customers have inquired about the location of this non-existent hammer. If some new art was dedicated to the creation of a really unconventional hammer, with another cool effect in the vein of Slayer or Flame Sting, it would greatly add to the value of the add-in. We strongly recommend that the player be allowed to travel back and forth from Pagan to the Lost Vale. This will cause the player to perceive the Lost Vale as a longer, less linear add-in. We could reuse this asset! Yeah! You can tell. Let's see. Either A, one of the Titans... we strongly... Yeah. Interesting notes. I want to know... Do we need to explain what the gods... what the gods were doing before... like, against the Titans before they got attacked and sealed away? If it was like 50, 60 years ago, it's like, what were they doing the 800 years, the 700 years before that? What were they doing the 700 years before that? Were they just trying to protect the Zealands and help them survive? Was it just a survival game? Was their magic devoted to helping them survive? We've got schedules as well. Look at this. We've got a whole schedule. April 94 to August 94. You can see they pushed it back by 4 days. And they've got, this is like updated schedules. You can see them updating it over time. Jason Eli, Sherry Grainer, Andrew Morris. Andrew Morris. Oh. Let's see, what else have we got? What's Misgraph? Oh, that's music. What else have we got? Let's close some of these. We got other plot documents. Some of these are simpler than others. This one's much simpler. I like this. The PC goes to the sacred, smallish, unusual colored rock. In a set scene, Ezreal and the two leaders show up, and with much wailing and gnashing of teeth, frisbee together. When the frisbee is explain to the gathered group that they both stole the frisbee and we're going to try to take it to the Cloud City to find the gods and demand the frisbee be repaired. Why did they have to call it a frisbee? Come on. Do we really have to call it a frisbee? Shrine of the Wheaties. The slang they use is so ridiculous. Is there anything else that's worth showing off? I think that's basically it. Yeah, we've basically looked at everything. We can look at the pitch stuff, the corporate stuff. Let's look at the corporate stuff. I kind of skipped over that, but... High concept. The Lost Vale is an add-in disc for Ultima 7 that increases gameplay via additional storylines, new monsters, additional areas to explore, and greater powers to help the Avatar conquer the Titans. As an add-in to Ultima 8, the target market is the player of the original Ultima 8 game. Good sales versus production cost potential, in addition to increasing the sales potential of Ultima 8. Resources. The core development team involves only a few Origin employees, all Ultima experienced. The Lost Vale is an add-in module designed to lengthen the playing time and excitement of Ultima 8. The module adds approximately 5 new maps. That tells me a lot. That's all we need. We only need 5 new maps. 5, that's it. That's not too bad. A new culture, i.e. additional NPCs, 2 new monsters, and an additional storyline that leads to new magic items and increased attributes. Ultima experience, yet they can't spell Britannia. Yeah, that's right. Technical overview. IBM PC 486. You only need a 486. Oh, 4 megs of RAM? Oh, I don't know if I can handle that. 320 by 200 by 256 VGA. Oh, that's pretty. Full soundboard. I don't even have a soundboard. Oh, I'm gumbled. I won't be able to run this. I don't even have a sound. I don't even have a sound card. How am I gonna run Lost Vale? Like the original Ultima 8, the game will appeal to the existing Ultima fans and hopefully attract those who had fun with games like Prince of Persia, but have never tried Ultimas. Interesting that Prince of Persia was their target market. You know, their example for games that weren't Ultima was Prince of Persia. I find that interesting. Deal. Question mark budget? Planned ship in the middle/end of August 94. Third quarter. High risks. The high sales of Ultima 8 and the relatively low cost required to produce this add-on module make the Lost Vale a good low-risk product. Status. The implementation phase is in full swing. With all of the design completed, work on Lost Vale is in the first third of visible progress. With the consent of QA, the Lost Vale should be in beta in 6 to 8 weeks. With the consent of QA. That means they had QA, which is why I really need to try to track down some of these playtesters. So let's have a look. Let's go to the okay, credits. This is what we need. Maybe none of these people worked on it. Gad Bennett, Rolf D. Bush, Jean-Pierre Demasson, Don DeRuin. I've spoken to him. He never touched Pagan. I mean, he never touched Lost Vale, I should say. Kay Gilmore, Mark France, Andrew Hoffman. Why do I want to track down the playtesters specifically? Because because some of them played Lost Vale. Some of them played Lost Vale, and Don DeRuin told me that they had that the EA had playtesters working on it. They had a separate team, of course. Here we go, Don DeRuin. Kay Gilmore was credited as QA lead. Okay, so he said Lost Vale was post-merger with EA, yeah. So EA, Don DeRuin, so Don DeRuin was he said he had literally, quote, hundreds of beta copies. Hundreds. He had hundreds of beta copies of Origin games. Let's see. The only interaction with, yeah, here we go. This is what he said. He was a QA lead on Pagan. So he was a test lead. There you go, it's in the chat. Don DeRuin, he was a test lead. So I asked him, did QA/playtesting folk ever have copies of, no, that's not relevant here. Okay, you know, I'm just gonna tell thee about all this. I asked him if QA people ever had source code, He said they didn't have access to uncompiled versions, but they did get copies of the game. But QA leads, however, actually did have source code. QA leads, so Kay Gilmore, who was the QA lead, she may have, this person, Kay Gilmore, she might actually have Pagan source code. He said that QA leads routinely worked with other departments and were exposed to / had access to source code. And the playtesters were actually given versions of the game. What else did I say? QA leads handed out copies to people to test. Okay. So I asked him, Pagan was Lost Vale. Here we go. Lost Vale, he said, was after the EA merger. He said Lost Vale was after the merger with EA. The only interaction with, I said, here's what I asked him about Lost Vale. I said, did you ever did you happen to play test or see the Lost Vale expansion, and did you deal with EA people much? And he said, the only interaction I had with EA was the merger. I left shortly after. I do remember having sour feelings about the communications and the lack of communications and the result of communications. Nothing against EA as a company. They just did not handle the transition well. Lost Vale was strictly an EA product. It had nothing to do with that. He said Lost Vale's QA was different. So all these people we've got here, we don't know who did QA for Lost Vale. There was QA, and how do we know there's QA? Because it says so. See that? With the consent of QA, the Lost Vale should be in beta. So there was QA. There were QA people that were involved with the Lost Vale. There were actually people who were involved with the Lost Vale. I asked him, so I asked him who was the QA lead, and he said Kay Gilmore. But he said EA when they merged. So Pagan was the first. He said Pagan was like, he said Pagan was basically, according to Don DeRuin, was happening when they were merging with EA, and then Lost Vale they were fully merged with EA. So by the time they started developing Lost Vale, basically the testers and QA were pretty much complete. Origins testers and QA were pretty much completely cut out because EA was doing their own thing by that point with QA. So they merged, and then he basically left. So he said that Lost Vale was post-merger. So I don't even know how to find out who did the QA. Kay Gilmore, I think Kay Gilmore would know though. If I can get in contact with Kay Gilmore somehow, I just need to find somebody that knows Kay Gilmore. I don't know how to even track her down. That's the biggest problem. How do I track down Kay Gilmore? How do I get in touch with Kay Gilmore? I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at.